Well, our last video we talked all about John, but we kind of failed to mention one thing. When he was 3 months old, he went for his first road trip. He went with Papa and myself, and Papa was still the supervisor for some volunteers from Extension, which Papa was working at the time. And where did we go, Papa?
We went to the area around New Orleans,
And where
where
else?
we had 5 or 6 mission sites,
And where else?
and they were all in the Bayou country, and most of the girls were visiting nurses, volunteers.
Okay, then I remember going to Del Rio.
And on the way back, we stopped at Del Rio, Texas, on the Rio Grande River.
Okay, so that's a couple of states there. And how about Utah? I remember Utah somewhere in there.
In that same year, we also went up to Wyoming and Utah. We had extension volunteers there, were mostly parish workers or hospital nurses.
So I don't think John remembered all the places he went, but he was a traveler.
And how old was he?
3 months.
And you guys drove around in?
The blue-green Ford four-door Fairlane.
Woohoo! And it had air conditioning. It was wonderful.
And a heater. But this was winter. When we went up into the Rockies,
was it
was winter.
Okay.
And one time we even got stuck on an interstate highway in about 13 inches of snow and ice.
Okay, well, we'll leave that where it is. We don't want to go all our adventures. So we got back home and just lived joyfully, and well, Papa still traveled. But when John was a year and a half, we all had a delightful surprise because our second little child was born, Susie. And what a delight. She was born on St. Patrick's Day. And we all, we thought it was so funny that she is the only one with green eyes in our family. And so we thought, what a gift. I mean,
In honor of St. Patrick.
in honor of St. Patrick. But we did not name her Patricia. We chose Susan Marie. So she's been Susie ever since, and it kind of fits her, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
It fits Susie. So we brought Susie home, and John kind of said, who is this? So we had a couple of slides that we took pictures, and he had the most delightful face on him, and so he really welcomed little Susie, and we have several pictures of him just kissing her and just loving her, and we were so delighted because, sometimes that doesn't happen with second babies. But she was a little girl, so I don't know what would happen if we had a little boy, but we had a little girl, and so it worked real well. So we were delighted to have little Susie join our family. And one thing I remember doing for John, I forgot to mention, I had made his baptism outfit. So when Susie came along, she wore the same baptism outfit. In fact, James, our next son, who we'll talk about soon, did as well. So I used to make clothes for her, and it was so much fun. I mean, I actually had time to sew, and I made her dresses. And maybe it was because I thought she was a little doll. I don't know. She was so cute and very easy baby, really easy child. She just she didn't fuss about anything, and
Didn't
she
get you up
even
at night?
no, not much. And like John didn't like his carrots, I think Susie liked her carrots. So it was really, really sweet. So it was a custom that we would take the babies to church on Sunday. I mean, that's what we did. We're that kind of a family. We would just take those babies, crying or not. So I remember bringing her back to the back of Our Lady of the Valley Church at the time we were attending. And I had set her down. She hadn't walked yet. She was about almost a year old. And when I put her down, she took her first step towards the altar. And I thought, Susie, does that mean you're going to be a nun? I said, oh, maybe she is going to have a vocation to be a consecrated, virgin. But anyway, that was a thought we had for a while. But we just had so much fun with Susie. She, I think one of the things I really enjoyed seeing in her, she loved to read. I mean, at a very early age, right? She would just get those books and she learned how to read. And I think that was the time when all the Dr. Seuss books came out. So we had, what did we have? We had Cat in the Hat, right? And we had Green Eggs and Ham or something like that. I don't know if Horton, something about a Horton elephant. But she read all those, and I remember even taking her to the library at a young age, and she would pick out books. So it was really, really sweet. And she just loved it. And one of the things you like to do with Susie, after I bathed her really well and her hair was wet, what did you enjoy?
I used to comb out the kinks in her hair, and then she would take a picture of it while I was doing it.
He loved to brush her
She
hair.
would be very patient. One thing that you reminded me of is that when we were Our Lady of the Valley and she was little and cute, and most of the Mexican ladies in the church had never seen a snow white, blonde, blue-eyed, green-eyed child. So it always took us
Green-eyed, yeah.
15 minutes to get out of church. We could not get through the lobby. Everybody had to see this baby doll.
Yeah, between John and his blonde blue eyes and Susie and her blonde green eyes.
And they couldn't resist touching, you know, and the exclamations were really fun.
So, yes, it was a joy growing up with those two. It really was. I remember as she got a little older, she had this project for school where she had to build a bridge out of wood dowels. What was it? Wool dowels? Tell me about it.
High school, wasn't it?
Was it high school already?
Yeah.
Or grade school?
She had to design and build a bridge that would survive a load test for a science class
Was it?
at Loretto. And she could make her own design. It was restricted to, maybe 3/16 diameter wooden dowels.
I remember it was extremely complicated.
And they could glue it together, and it had them take this, 40-pound, 6-hour test. Because a lot of times the adhesive and everything you use would break down after continuous pressure.
So they would put a brick on there? Or
it was a big lead weight, a big steel weight.
Okay.
And it was a real challenge because you couldn't do it and try it. You had to do it and submit it. So
She did really well with that.
You couldn't learn from your experience right away. So I did some coaching with her, but she used certain kind of glue, Elmer's and this. And she made a very advanced arch bridge out of these dowels, wooden dowels.
I think it held the weight.
I think it held the weight pretty well. I
Yeah.
don't exactly remember how if it passed, and then they get marks for the creativity too.
Well, what I remember as she was growing up in grade school, she was, I never had to remind her to do her homework. She was always on top of it. I mean, she kind of took care of her whole schooling herself because because she enjoyed reading so much, that gave her the path to all type of education, and she was just really on the ball when it came to school. In fact, she had, in grade school, she had a friend that was at the same level as she was, and I think they all got A's, but they were in competition with one another to see if they could outdo one another in their performance with everything. So I think that gave her the drive, and the other girl as well, and they were friends, they were good friends, to do better and excel. And I think Susie had that mindset most of her educational experience in life. So I think that was kind of one of a kind, really. Mm-hmm. And so she was truly a gift from God. Well, all of our kids were gifts from God, but she was an unexpected gift from God. So I just remember her just so delightful and just enjoyed her. And John just kind of was the big brother around her and kind of looked after her and took care of her. and watched out for her. So that was really important because they went to the same grade school together too. And it was just a delightful experience with Susie.
She was an easy child to raise.
She was. I kept saying to myself, she kind of raised herself. Because we always would support her and, did all the things we were supposed to do, but she took the ball and she really, she ran with it, basically. Speaking of ball, she played volleyball and she played clarinet for a while, so she was into a few things. But, so, that's Susie.
She ended up going to Loretto Academy?
Yes, she did. She went, right from grade school. We were able to put her in Loretto Academy, and she did. She did all 4 years, and she excelled. She was one of the top students in Loretto. So we were excited about that as well. And
how about when she decided to go to Texas Tech?
well, she did her first 1 year or 2 year here in El Paso.
She went to UTEP for the first year,
First year.
but I sensed that she didn't feel challenged there.
Also, they didn't have the educational plan that she was interested in. So she looked into Texas Tech University, and that's where she went.
And she was accepted, so she finished the last 3 years of college there and did very, very
Yeah,
well.
she did very well there as well.
And she also met a few people in the classes she was taking there. Eventually, she met Rod.
What was it like having her leave home?
Well, since it was my first girl, and my first one, John already left, I guess. John left at 18. So she
Would have been
yeah,
about the
it
same
was about the
time.
same time. I remember going to her bedroom, just bawling my eyes out. I really did. I thought, oh! But it took time to adjust Susie not being home. Yeah, it really did. But once she left home and was educated, she got a job. I guess the first one was in Dallas, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
but
And
she also worked while she was in college, too.
yes, she was. Yes.
She restaurants and
Yeah, but she also was. What do they call the program where you work?
work study.
Yeah, maybe that was it too.
No, she worked in restaurants, a receptionist and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think she worked at Bennigan's or something.
Well, that was here too as well. She worked at
Oh, yeah.
Benny's here. Yeah. So. But Susie is. She's a real treasure, and so grateful that we've been blessed with such a beautiful child.
I always admired her because she was such a self-starter. She would decide a course of action and do it. You didn't have to push her or remind her or anything. She drove herself.
Did that give you reason for concern when she was moving to Dallas, or did that give you confidence?
It gave me more confidence because I feel she was more secure with herself and her educational and future plan. Yeah. Of course, when every kid leaves home, there's always trepidation in the process. But she did real well, and we're very grateful.
Yeah.
And
But we did visit her a lot in Dallas. So
yeah, we did. And then she met Rod there, and he
In
was
college.
a fine young man, just really outstanding, and they clicked really well. We're all in the same educational field, which was advertising.
advertising.
Yeah, so they had a lot in common, and did really well.
That seemed
they
to have
were-
worked out pretty good.
Yes, it did.
They were
well.
mostly in the same classes, so they were always competing against each other for the best grade.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Sometimes Susie had the better end of the deal there.
Well, anyway, I think it probably benefited them both
Yeah,
to outdo each other.
and I think that's what she learned in grade school because she had that competition spirit to try always to do better. And she had a friend that was doing the same thing, so it was kind of not only a competition, but a camaraderie that they had developed. So that was really sweet, cool.
I remember when she was in Loretto that she ended up on the news on Channel 7. I think they did a deal and she had to speak.
Oh,
and
yes,
did a
that's
whole deal
right.
at Loretto or something, right?
Yes, she did. That's right. It called to mind. That's right. And that was, I had forgotten about that. Yeah, yeah. She was kind of a spokesperson there for a while for Loretto. And she has three daughters, and one of the daughters, Anna, is doing the same thing. She's a spokesperson for her college right now. So, but Susie will tell that story.
So what was that song that you guys were practicing?
Oh, this is a song we always used to sing to her when she got a little older. Oops, wrong one. Here it is. I'm gonna look at my notes here. You want to help me sing this? I don't want to sing it by myself. James, you want to help me sing it?
No,
We'll
yes,
just do
definitely.
the chorus verse, okay? 1, 2, 3. She's the sweetest little rosebud that Texas ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. You may talk about your Clementine and sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas is the only girl for me. And it goes on, but that's the one would really sing to her. So Susie, you are the yellow rose of Texas, and you are the sweetest rosebud we ever knew.